Philly Take with RB. Crossing over on the Bleacher Report app. Today, we are going to dive into 5 potential players that could be picked up by the Sixers later this month to fulfill the final roster spot that they will have going into the season. The best players available 5 weeks into free agency, right? This is now Isaac Okoro, Markelle Fultz, Lonnie Walker, Chetty Osman, Talen Horton-Tucker, Dennis Smith Jr., O'Shea Brissett, Doug McDermott, Jay Crowder, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, and Davis Bertans. And the first one we'll look at is Marcus Morris. 2023, 2024, that was this past year. He played with the Philadelphia 76ers. And Marcus Morris has familiarity here, right? He actually played pretty well. He played 37 games, made 7 starts, and he played 17 minutes per game, averaged 6.7 points per game, 2.9 rebounds, and 0.7 assists. And he shot well from 3 as well, 40%. Was he perfect? No, but he was a nice complimentary bench piece that was able to come out here and give the Sixers a little bit of spark off the bench. To me, this is the perfect option for a temporary placeholder. And the reason I say that is because he wants to be here. He was actually in an interview recently, and he came out and said, being back in Philly, being home, that's what really got me up out of the morning. Because let's face it, right? At the end of the day, this is a job. And Marcus Morris is, 34 years old. He doesn't have the ambition to play this game forever. He's not a superstar. He's not making $50 million per year. So sure, financial is a big incentive here, but he also wants to contribute to a team that he enjoys playing for. He wants that vibe, that culture, and he fits right into Philly. He's from the area. He understands the grit and the toughness. And when he was traded away at the deadline, literally right before that, they gave him the key to the city. But Marcus Morris can come back, be that temporary placeholder as a power forward. He can knock down his fair share of threes. He's not the best defender, but he can hold his own. He can bring a little bit of that toughness. He's not the old Marcus Morris, and he's not an exceptional rebounder, but he used to be a little bit better. And yes, he's aging and getting a bit slower, but he was just playing at the Rumpf Classic event, and he still looks to have some pretty fresh legs on him. So I would take a flyer on Marcus Morris. If you get him for a minimum, I think that would be perfect, and you're not taking on too much risk. The best thing about this is that most of these players are going to wait out probably another couple weeks to a month before they sign. And the reason for that is because, again, there's no middle ground. Like, some of these players probably thought they were going to get more money. Their agents are saying, let's wait out and see if we can get a team to bite. But all the teams are weighing the options against themselves, and they're saying, yeah, nobody's going to pay a premium for these guys at this point. We're all kind of set. So I'm guessing some of these players will get signed to minimum contracts in a couple weeks, and the Sixers should be able to get him on a value deal. Marcus Morris literally said, hey, I want to be back with Philly. Now, another player that has kind of surfaced in, I'd say, the last week or two. Nobody's really talking about him to Philly. Shout out to the partner of today's video, Mint Mobile. If you out there are similar to everyone else in the world who has thought to themselves at one point, why is my wireless bill so high? Then Mint Mobile is for you. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 per month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network and keep costs low because they sell directly to you online, cutting out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? You can go and use that money to treat yourself to a Sixers game or even buy a new jersey. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. They even offer super affordable family plans with as little as 2 lines. And switching to Mint is super easy thanks to their digital eSIM cards. You can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will actually ship you a new SIM card free of charge. The whole process will only take about 15 minutes. And if you get stuck, Mint has a great customer service team to help you through it. So if you are interested in reliable coverage and fast data for a fraction of the cost, go to mintmobile.com/PhillyTake. You can go right down to the description of this video and click the link, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. But Jay Crowder, ladies and gentlemen, I think would actually be an interesting fit here in Philly. And here's the reason I say that. Jay Crowder is also getting up there, right? 34 years old, former second-round pick. He's been a journeyman at this point. He's been around. He was with that Suns team that went to the finals, and he actually started on that team as well. But regardless, man, he is a vet who can bring that experience. He's a very fair shooter, can knock down a good percentage of his threes. Last year was at 35%, but the year before, in 18 games, he was at 43%. Lifetime, he's been around 34.8%. But last year, he averaged 6 points per game off of the bench, 3.2 rebounds, and 1.3 assists. If you let him come in and be that placeholder right now, I know he's getting older, he's slow, etc., just like some of these other guys. But Jay Crowder's a versatile defender. He can defend multiple positions. He can knock down his fair share of threes. And he's just going to come right in and bring some of that toughness that this team already embodies. It feels like one word that has been displayed a lot this offseason is culture and identity. And it feels like the Sixers have done a much better job of building that. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's talk about a guard, a.k.a. Lonnie Walker IV. Now, this guy's an intriguing story because he was a first-round pick just 6 years ago. Feels like he's been in the league longer, but he's only 25 years old. He's been riding the back end of benches. He was with the Lakers. He had that infamous game. I think it was like game 4 against the Warriors where he dropped 15 in the fourth. Looked really good. And then last year, he kind of just rotted away like every other player did on the end of the Brooklyn bench. And I don't think it's necessarily fair to evaluate him this way. He actually put out a tweet recently saying, don't sleep on me. I'm coming back, etc. Last year, he averaged almost 10 points per game coming off the bench in 17 minutes for Brooklyn. And he shot around 38% from three, lifetime around 35.6. It's fair to say he didn't live up to the first round with San Antonio. I also think they had an influx of guards, which, he had opportunity, but never really gave him the shot to just kind of focus in and go all in with the Spurs. But he also did get injured a lot, came up short. And Lonnie Walker can bring some of that high flyer ability. He can knock down shots. He can spot up and shoot. But he never really lived up to that hype as a combo guard. He can put it on the floor, but he's not really much of a facilitator. Sometimes gets in his own way, has that tunnel vision, and he's probably a mediocre defender at best. I don't think the Sixers should bring in another guard, but this guy has been brought up in a lot of different free agency talk because they still think there's something there, right? Like some guys are not performing. Maybe they're not in the right situation, but you can always see like there's a little something left in the tank. And that's what I think the consensus is on Lonnie Walker. Like he still has a talent. He's only 25 years old, but he's got to be in the right situation. And I don't think he has found that. But as it relates to the Sixers, the reason I would not bring this guy in is because they have an influx of guards. They have too many at this point. I never thought I would be saying that about the 76ers, but you have Tyrese Maxey, right? You bring in the veteran presence in Eric Gordon. If you want to count Kelly Oubre as a guard, wing, whatever, Kelly Oubre might start at the 2, fine. Then you have Kyle Lowry, who you brought back on a vet minimum. And there's even been reports that Lowry does not want to end up sliding as that third string point guard. He wants to play. He wants to finish his career in Philly, but also feel like he has an impact in it, right? And feel like he has a role. And, maybe he could end up starting. Who knows? But then you go and sign Reggie Jackson. Keep in mind, you have Jared McCain, who is your first round pick that you just invested in, and you want him to get on the floor. So I think personally the Sixers have too many guards at this point. They don't need another one. The next guy we'll talk about already has that Philly experience, not once but twice, and it is Robert Covington. Now, I always say this, but he had one of the weirdest experiences I've ever seen in Philadelphia this past year. He was involved in the James Harden trade, just like a lot of the other pieces, and I'll be surprised. Rocco actually ended up performing a lot better than I thought. Like, I'm not a big Rocco guy, but when he was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers, he actually played really well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He was everywhere. I remember a couple games early where he had like 3, 4, 5 steals, and he was disrupting the opposing team's best scorer. And we knew that Rocco could do that, but at 33 years old, getting older, not looking the same as before, I just thought he had kind of fell off, right? And he wasn't really playing much with the Clippers. So I said, he's not really going to do that much. He was playing really well, and he played 26 games with the Sixers this past year. And then out of nowhere, he kind of disappeared off the floor. And we said, what happened to Robert Covington? On a positive note, we did see him practicing a couple days ago. He finally posted a workout video of him in the gym, and he looks to be back or getting back into game shape, which is great to see. And he has played power forward before. He's played in some of those small ball Rockets lineups. He's played with Portland. Could Robert Covington come in and be your temporary four? You look at his career, he's averaged 5.5 rebounds per game. Last 3 years, 3.5, 2.7, and 3.4, as well as 5.1. So the ability is there. And maybe the Sixers just go, yeah, we're going to bring Rocco back on a minimum. I feel like it would have been done already, but if they do go that way, and now that he's healthy, they say, okay, let's take a flyer on him, I wouldn't really be mad at it. And this last guy, I'll be completely honest with you, I don't want any piece of. Maybe you disagree, but it's Davis Bertans is pretty much washed. Like, he's a one-trick pony, and last year he did play a lot better once he got traded to Charlotte, but on a Charlotte team where there's not much going for them, they're not going to win many games, and really they're just not that invested in succeeding in their season. I just don't know how much stock I can put into that. But Davis Bertans played 28 games last year for the Charlotte Hornets, and that was after he was traded by OKC. And he averaged 8.8 points per game. He shot 37.5% from three. And that's pretty much what he did. He's a spot-up shooter. He's a chucker, right? He's just going to come in, try to, shoot 4, 5, 6 threes per game. And if he's on, great. There will be nights where he's on fire, but there will also be nights where he is extremely frustrating. He's not a good defender. He can't facilitate. He can't rebound. He is a one-trick pony. He is a spot-up shooter. Now, if you think the Sixers are going to need an excess of shooting, then yes, maybe he could be a viable option off the bench.